Okay guys, here we go with round 2 of the dual part mold. I hope I don't have to do this too many times, because getting this stuff out of here, it was really stuck and it is hard as rock. So I basically had to hammer it out with a little hammer and chisel thing, and man, bits flew everywhere. So yeah, a bit of a mess to clean that up, so I hope I don't have to do this too often. Also, I've been reflecting a little bit more on what the problem was first time round, and I think it wasn't just this issue of the wax not going all the way in to the corner. It's actually the fact that, I don't know if I can see this, I might do a little drawing, but there is the edge here on both sides is not actually perfectly square, it's rounded. And so what happens is, because this goo is so liquidy, it goes in underneath where the roundover is on the side, and so when you try to separate the mold, it's essentially caught underneath on both sides. And so the only place where I have a good edge is actually where I tacked it with super glue, so that there wasn't that, if you like, that little void was filled. So what I've done, and you won't be able to see it, I don't think, but I put a very thin layer of the modeling clay into that, if you like, round over on both sides, so that now there's nothing stopping the mold just coming apart. And I'll put some wax on there, but I'm thinking I'm going to put a little bit of oil as well on here, and hope this stuff doesn't sort of have a problem with that. But yeah, so that's it. I mean, I know I paid a lot of attention to getting the wax all the way into the edges here, and so I figure it has to be the fact that, and then when I went along with the clay, I was there, you could clearly see a bead of clay went in, and so I think we have enough reason now to be optimistic that results on this round will be a little bit better than before. Okay, here we go, attempt number 2. This one separated a lot easier. I just left it for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So it's hard, but it's not anywhere near as hard as the last time, because I left it for well over an hour. So that looks like it's released pretty cleanly. So what I did was I filled this guy up here. I couldn't get the other stuff out, so it came out in bits and pieces. And so I filled this up with I cleaned all this. One of the problems I had with this is, after I got all this old stuff out, it seemed like this goo that I used to dissolve the super glue that was holding it to the wood actually attacked this plastic. It released it okay, but it actually attacked it. So there was rough patches on the inside, which clearly was not going to be good, because that would mean it would hold onto the ceramic material. So I spent a long time actually polishing all the inside surfaces again. Then I gave it a coat of oil, and then I just filled it up. And this modeling clay comes in really handy for doing stuff like this. Blocked off the ends, and it released in 2 pieces, so it did crack. But I didn't leave it very long to dry. I only left it like 20 minutes, 30 minutes tops. So it's still very sort of moist. And so I'm going to leave it overnight now to dry. And then I'll glue it onto this piece here. And then we'll be pretty much ready, I think, for doing some trial with the epoxy. Okay, so I've wicked super glue on each side here. I'll admit I was a tad nervous doing it, so it's probably not positioned correctly. It's not quite coming up to the surface here, and it's sticking out a little bit at the end. But hey, it is what it is, so we'll just tidy it up after the glue is fully set off, and yeah, we'll be ready for... I gotta protect it, so I'm thinking that I don't trust this wax compound. Maybe because this is porous, I'm not sure. But I have a thing, I think I'll spray this with a coat of lacquer or something to seal it up. And then we'll see about polishing it. Same for this guy. Another little complication, I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but I just noticed when I was trying to put these two halves of the mold together that the wood doesn't seem to sit very well anymore. And what it seems to be is this lower part of the mold has actually developed a twist, or the wood has bowed in this direction with the hump in the middle, and so there's gaps at either side here. And you can see a slight curve along the bottom surface as well. So it looks like what's happened is the moisture, the water in this material seeped into the wood and has expanded the top part of it. Not quite sure what I can do with this now, except maybe sit it in water just along the bottom here and see if I can expand the bottom fibers as well, and then close up these gaps. Otherwise I'm just going to have to go with it and hope that it doesn't leak out the sides. So I've shot a couple of clear coats on here to seal up this porous plaster Paris. Then I've put some oil, coat of oil on everything now that the clear coat's dry, to help it release, because I don't really trust this wax compound anymore. And so this is what was left over when I cast this lot, and so I've clear coated this and put oil on it as well. And when I pour the epoxy in here, I'll pour a little bit on here as well, just to see how easily it comes away from the plaster of Paris. That'll give me some idea as to how easy it'll be to get it out of here. Well, the good news about 20 minutes later is the bubbles all seem to be gone. So I'm going to pour this in the mold, and either it will go or it will leak out everywhere, and we'll be back to square one. It seems a little bit more gooey than the last mix I made. Oh, it's leaking out the bottom. Not sure there's anything I can do over there. Nope. Failed attempt. Back to the drawing board.